Everything out of me. They gonna get a Super Bowl out of me. Believe that. Believe that. I'm a Raven. It's on. All year. Every year.
Hey everybody, welcome in. This is Jordan, and I'm going to be going through the 53-man final roster prediction for the Ravens 2023 team. So, the Ravens and a lot of other NFL teams do some kind of funky manipulation with the roster because of some of the rules around putting guys on injured reserve, and if they want to bring them back mid-season, they have to put them on the 53 and then put them on IR, which makes them unavailable for the first 4 games, I believe, and then they're eligible to return. And there's like a window, I think, of like, I think it's two weeks or 3 weeks. They have to be on the roster by that time, otherwise they go on IR for the rest of the season. So that's for later, but I wanted to put a little bit of that caveat out there because some of the roster selections that I have down kind of includes some of those manipulations, so it kind of felt important to put that out there to start. Alright, we'll run through this and then I'll kind of get into some of the intricacies of why I chose who I chose, but to be honest, I think in the last few years, this has been maybe one of the easiest, or at least a lot of the starters and locks make this a very consistent group of 53. So if you're seeing other people's roster predictions, they're probably, I would say, very similar to this. There's maybe like 3 or 4 at most positions or players that are in or out of other people's lineups. So, do I think mine's right? Who knows? We'll find out on Tuesday at 4 o'clock. That's when the 90 has to be down to 53. So we'll see what kind of moves they make. And then the following day when they start putting people on IR and whatever else, we'll also see some of those moves. So, hey guys, real quick. If you're enjoying the video so far, go ahead and give it a like. And if you want more, you can head over to my channel and hit that subscribe button while you're there. Also, if you know anyone who is a Ravens fan that might enjoy this video, please share it with them. Alright, let's get back to the video. Let's jump in. So the first group is going to be the quarterbacks. I only have them keeping 2, Lamar Jackson and Tyler Huntley. Yes, I do think Tyler Huntley is still the backup quarterback. Josh Johnson, I think, is on the practice squad. I'm not scared about him making to the practice squad. He's been on every single NFL team, apparently. Not actually, but he has traveled around a lot, so I don't think there's anybody that's like, gonna take a shot at him, and they would have already at this point if they haven't. Anthony Brown, I don't think he makes it. I think he's going to be a cut. All right, next up, running backs. So I have 4 making it. I have J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards, Justice Hill, and Keaton Mitchell. I do have Melvin Gordon and Owen Wright getting cut, but Owen Wright, he might be practice squad. I'm not sure. I don't know. There's a lot of guys that I think make the practice squad for us in other positions, and if we're keeping 4 running backs, I don't necessarily know if Owen Wright makes it to this practice squad, but hopefully his showing in the last preseason game gave him a shot on somebody else's practice squad, or even maybe their starting roster. Who knows? He did, pretty well in the last game against Tampa Bay. Okay, next up, wide receivers. I think this is probably one of the least debated groups. I'm keeping 6. Odell Beckham, Rashad Bateman, Zay Flowers, Nelson Aguilar, Devin Duvernay, and Tylan Wallace. If there's any debate, it's on Tylan Wallace or keeping 5 wide receivers. But I think 6 is a safe number, and Tylan gives you a lot of options, or not a lot of options, but he's a versatile special teams player as well, and the Ravens value that. He actually showed some improvement in his wide receiver prowess. I just hope he can stay healthy. Now, it's kind of been a little bit of an issue with him, so hopefully he can overcome that. All right, next up, tight ends. I have 4, but I have Patrick Ricard in here as well, so it's Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely, Charlie Kohler, and Patrick Ricard. I hope we can get Travis Vokolek to the practice squad. If not, then, I don't know, maybe he'll make it onto somebody else's 53, in which case I wish him well. But I think Ben Mason gets cut. All right, next up, offensive line. I'm keeping 9. This is another one that I think some people might have, some people mixed around, or they might have less. I'm not really sure. The offensive line always, it kind of scares me as far as injuries. This and like the cornerback room are ones that I'm always worried about guys going down, so I want to have depth here. So we've got Ronnie Stanley, Morgan Moses, Kevin Zeitler, John Simpson, and Tyler Linderbaum. And then your backup guys, so to speak, are Patrick McCarry, Daniel Faalele, Ben Cleveland, and Big Sala. I did end up keeping Ben Cleveland, Big Sala, and I mean Faalele he's doing well, and McCarry we know is capable of covering several different positions. But I think keeping all 4 of them gives you at least a reasonable backup in each of those 5 positions, right? So if a tackle goes down, Faalele can step up, or McCarry, and then if Linderbaum, if something happens to him, then McCarry can step up there as well. I do have Sam Mustipher going to the practice squad, so hopefully keeping him there will help. Andrew Voorhees, he's going to be on injury reserve or non-football injury list. So yeah, and then rest of the guys get cut, but they might bring some of them back. All right, next up, switching over to the defense now. Inside linebacker, I have them keeping 5: Roquan Smith, Patrick Queen, Malik Harrison, Trenton Simpson, and Delshon Phillips. I really like the combination of Malik Harrison and Delshon Phillips, just because I kind of feel like they bring a nice mixture of skills. Harrison being kind of like the big hitter guy, and Phillips being a very reliable in coverage for an inside linebacker. Obviously, he had a standout camp, and preseason, I think he did really well. And I think they can both contribute on special teams too. So the odd men out here are Josh Ross and Christian Welch, and I think both of them can make it onto the practice squad. But I know Welch has been on the team. He's made the 53 a couple times over the last couple of years, but that's mainly been for his special teams contribution. And I think Delshon Phillips and Malik Harrison can give you defensive linebacker snaps along with those special team snaps. So I just think you get more out of them. All right, next up, outside linebacker. I'm keeping 4, but this one it starts to get some of the weird stuff here. So, or the different deals. So I have Odafe Owe, David Ajabo, Tyus Bowser, and Tavius Robinson. I have Malik Ham and Jeremiah Moon going to the practice squad, and Sanders getting cut. So yeah, we'll get to the weird part of this in a little bit here when I go over the defensive line. Cornerbacks, I have them keeping 6, mainly because, spoiler, I have Darius Washington making the team, but I put him with the safeties. So, Marlon Humphrey, Rock Ya-Sin, Ronald Darby, Jalen Armour-Davis, Kyu Kelly, and Kevon Seymour. Seymour played well. Practice squad, I do have Tay Hayes and Jeremy Lucien making the practice squad. So I have them putting Pepe Williams on IR. And the reason for that is I think they should protect him because he's been banged up, and we saw what happens when they brought him back early last time. And I think for the start of the season, there's going to be some guys that you might not need from the 53 to bring up because you can only bring 48. You can only activate 48, but you can bring up 2 from the practice squad. And bringing up a guy like Tay Hayes, for while Marlon Humphrey is out for the first couple of weeks or whatever, I think that's a better option than keeping Demario Williams, taking a roster spot, and hoping he can come back after several weeks or whatever. I don't know the severity of his injury, but the fact that he came back and then immediately hurt it again and it got worse, just put him on IR for the season. Let him get good and healthy. There's no reason to completely ruin his career trying to rush him out here when he wouldn't even be, at this point, the number 2, number 3 cornerback. And even if you brought him back to play like that, nickel coverage guy or whatever, slot coverage guy, you do have Darius Washington for that. So that moves also on to safeties, where I'm keeping 5. So I have us keep as Marcus Williams, Kyle Hamilton, Geno Stone, Brandon Stevens, and Darius Washington. I do have Daryl Worley making the practice squad. I know he's been a guy that's been flip-flopping back and forth between the active roster and practice squad, but having him on the practice squad makes him available to us on call-up days if possible, if we need to. All right. So, yeah, so the defensive line, I have us keeping 5. Michael Pierce, Justin Matabike, Broderick Washington, Travis Jones, and Jadeveon Clowney. Clowney, this is part of the reason why for outside linebacker I only have 4, mainly because Clowney, he's kind of both, right? He's a hybrid, so he can play inside or he can play outside. That going along with the fact that I think Bowser initially makes the 53, but then they put him on the in-season IR, and he's out for the next 4 weeks at least, and they kind of bring him back a little bit slowly. His injury doesn't seem to be as severe as Pepe Williams, so I think he can come back after a few weeks or so. If they do something different with that, then, they obviously have more knowledge of these guys' injuries than I do. But with that being said, with him making the in-season IR, but still being on the 53, once they put him on the in-season IR, I have them having a handshake deal with Brent Urban, who I think they bring back to the 53 to start. And, that can get into whole finaglings of after Tyus comes back and Brent Urban's on the team, well, who do you get rid of? Who do you cut? Who do you put on the practice squad? If Marlon is back at that point, maybe that's a situation where, I don't know, you put like a Kevon Seymour on the practice squad or something like that. I don't know. You can still move guys around if that's what you want to do, to bring these guys up, move guys around. Who knows at that point? That's weeks away. So last position group, specialists or special teams, it's Justin Tucker, Jordan Stout, Tyler Ott. I mean, that's not really a surprise. So overall, that does round out the 53. And it gives us, if my math is correct, it gives us 25 on offense, 25 on defense, and 3 specialists. So that's your 53. Right or wrong, we'll find that out in about a day and a half. So, yeah, looking forward to seeing what they do with the roster, seeing who makes the 53, and what other kind of moves they make. They might make trades and blow all of this up. Who knows? Ravens are always doing some funky things around this time. So, yeah, but that's going to be it for me. If you guys have different opinions, if you have different takes on who makes it, who doesn't, if you think I'm way off on this guy or that guy or whatever else, feel free to let me know in the comments. I'd love to see any contributions you guys have. And yeah, all right. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.